The general public doesn't know their names. However, their contribution to Ukraine's fight is huge. Their support is appreciated both in the rear and on the front line. They are the ones who bring our victory over the enemy closer. They are the fellows of Ukraine. Hi, this is the Fellows of Ukraine project from You Donation. We want to tell you about the people who have been helping Ukraine since the Russian invasion despite being hundreds and thousands of kilometers away. We will tell you their story through the prism of Ukrainian realities. Our guest today is Shannon. She's from Canada and she's a nurse. Shannon is engaged in volunteering, collecting various medical aid and sending it to Ukraine. And today she will tell us more about herself and her volunteer experience. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you and thank you for having me.
Could you tell us more about yourself? Where are you from? What are you doing? Just about you.
Okay. I am a nurse from Canada. My mother's ancestral background is Ukraine. Her first language was Ukrainian, and so we grew up with a lot of Ukrainian customs and traditions in our home. I first visited Ukraine in 2002 with my 89-year-old Baba on her first trip back to Ukraine, and I fell in love with the country.
And what influenced your decision to help Ukraine? It's because of relatives, yeah?
I remember watching TV the night that this invasion started, and all of the news, everything on the TV stopped, and it started showing footage of this, and I was talking with one of my cousins in Australia, and I was on the phone with my uncle in BC, and I was stunned. Of course, there had been talk about this and concern, but to know it had actually happened was devastating and heartbreaking. And I just felt we all had to do what we could. And there is a Ukrainian shipping company called Meast in Edmonton that was offering a reduced deal to send humanitarian goods to Ukraine. And my coworkers all know that I'm Ukrainian, so I was getting messages saying, I'm sorry about the war, what can we do to help? And on a Wednesday on my private work Facebook page, I put a post saying if anybody has an unopened bottle of Tylenol or a new pair of socks or an antibiotic ointment, if you want to bring it to work on Sunday, 4 days later, I would itemize it all and pack it up and send to Ukraine. And when I went to work 4 days later, there was 110 kilos of humanitarian goods that had been brought in by just my 30 coworkers. And so that was the start of me sending humanitarian items to Ukraine.
Could you tell us more about volunteering? Is it only like medical aid or something else too?
Because of my nursing background, I'm able to connect with and accrue a lot of medical supplies, and that is my forte. So in my little community of helpers, I call them, I'm able to reach out to people and they ask me what is needed, or we have things, and I'm somehow able to network with enough people to gather a large amount every time to bring it over. I do also bring supplies that are requested by the front lines sometimes, and then sometimes I'm also a deliverer for other things. So this time I brought over 2 drones and then a third one that had been donated by a friend's family, and a laptop, and then I meet with people and they collect them and forward them to where they are supposed to go.
What have been the biggest challenge in your activity?
I actually am very pleasantly surprised with how easily it all comes together. I've been lucky enough to connect with the right people, and through amazing community work and support from my community, it's a lot of work packing it and preparing it all, but it comes easily. And so I'm very grateful to everyone who has helped me and who has made it easy for me to do this.
Maybe you have some interesting stories
I have so
that
many.
influenced your life, and yeah, you can tell us.
So what's influenced me in doing this is my Ukrainian ancestry, but also I believe Ukrainians right now are fighting for common worldwide values. And so to contribute to it and to support them is very important to me. And through this journey, I have met wonderful people. I have had incredible experiences. This time I'm able to bring a lot of hemophiliac or blood products supplies over from Canada, thanks to one of my friends who works with the Hemophiliac Society. And this time I was able to bring medication that a Ukrainian refugee had brought to Canada. And then when they came to Canada, their medication regime was changed up. And so they had this excess product. And when they heard they had a chance for their medication to go back and help a Ukrainian, they packed it all up and it was sent to me to bring back to Ukraine this time.
In general, how many times have you been to Ukraine?
This is my 4th trip since the start of the war, and this is my 6th trip in my life.
And how was your first time?
My first time was definitely the most special, because I came with my Baba, who was 89. She'd left when she was 14, so she'd left 75 years earlier. And to see her come back and be reunited with family and friends 75 years later was absolutely incredible.
And what about the first time after their invasion?
I wasn't sure what to expect. So the first trip, bringing in supplies, I came as far in as Lviv. And I wasn't sure what to expect with air alarms and sirens or how the atmosphere would be. I was very moved by everyone's humanity and everyone's gratitude and everyone's compassion. And then when I came back in December, I was somewhere in Lviv in the center, and it was a store that had a generator, and they had power bars lined up so that people could charge their cell phones. And I just remember thinking that the team spirit here of helping everyone out is incredible.
Who do you usually talk to when you come to Ukraine? Do you have friends here?
I do. I have friends that I've known from before the war, and then those that I have connected with since the start of the war, when I was first sending shipments and I wasn't bringing them myself, but either having them sent by Meast or having other people deliver into the country for me. So I have those friends. I have my family in the south near Chernivtsi, and I have some friends here in Kyiv as well, so I'm very lucky.
Can you share some unusual stories related to volunteering in Ukraine?
I don't know if I have unusual stories, but coming in,
Maybe interesting.
Definitely the second time I came, we brought helicopter helmets. And the person we were traveling with left to go to the east, to drive supplies out to the east. So I was in Lviv with someone else, and we got in late and we loaded in, I think we had 41 bags initially, suitcases. So we come with a combination of boxes, suitcases, and hockey bags. So we bring the biggest bags we possibly can. And our first delivery stop was 14 bags to an apartment on the 4th floor with no elevator. And so I let the men do the delivering, and I just checked off the boxes. That was my job. And then we got to our hotel, and we were left with an additional, I think, 27 bags that we had to bring upstairs. And we were lucky enough that they gave us a storage room on the 1st floor, so that was good. And it was probably 1 in the morning or 1:30, and we started getting text messages saying, "You have helicopter helmets. We need them." And we hadn't yet received the list of what went to who, so it was just kind of a little bit of chaos. But I think one of the best parts about doing these deliveries is reuniting the required supplies with the person they're intended for.
And how do you see your work evolving in the future? Maybe you have some long-term goals?
I like what I'm doing, and I like how it all comes together. So with my community of helpers, if I am able to continue to do what I am doing and how, I hope I am able to do so in the future. And I see more trips here.
Who helps you to organize these fundraisers? Do you cooperate with some organizations, or maybe other volunteers? No?
I'm very, in terms of gathering funds this far, it has been friends, family, coworkers, and extended family within my community. So I'm very lucky that I have that community around me who supports me and also supports the values that Ukraine is fighting for. I am part of a group that has just been started called UCAN, which is Ukrainians of Canada. And UCAN stands for You Can Help, You Can Make a Difference. And so when I am planning to come over, I have friends and family come over and help me sort everything out because I like to get everything organized. And then we pack it all so that when I get here, it's easier for me to unpack it all and then redistribute it into smaller boxes to send to where it is needed. So we will make boxes for the front line and medics, and then for stabilization units, and then for hospitals. And my intention is that everything gets as far east as it possibly can where it is needed most. Some of the specialized medications, like these hemophiliac medications, will stay in hospitals where they can be used because they are more specialized. So those will stay in Lviv and Kiev this time.
And what is their attitude to the war in Ukraine, in Canada? Is society ready to help Ukrainians?
Canada has a very large Ukrainian population, and the support for Ukraine, I think, is very real and very large and very strong. I'm a part of a newcomers group on Facebook, and the amount of help and willingness to help the refugees that come from Ukraine is incredible, and the amount of support me as a single person is able to accrue just to bring supplies in, both are evidence of the amount of support that Canadians are giving Ukrainians. And I think Canada very much so supports what Ukraine is fighting for.
We are very grateful for that. And maybe you have some special programs from your government?
We do. There's a program that was actually supposed to expire at the end of March that they extended, and it offers newcomers, I believe it's $3,000 upon arrival.
I've heard about it, yeah.
And I think it's $1,500 for children, and it helps them just get settled, and then while they are able to sort out their paperwork and living accommodations and getting children, registered into schools.
And what advice would you give to someone who also wants to help Ukraine, who wants to be engaged in volunteering?
I would say do it. This has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. It just to connect with people, to meet different people, to share stories and listen to their experiences throughout the war. Everyone here has a story to tell. And it's so interesting to hear them, and I think they need to be told. So I'm very grateful for every opportunity I've had to come here and to meet with the people that I have. It's just been so incredibly rewarding. And if I had the opportunity to meet with any of the soldiers that are fighting for Ukraine, I would just want to say thank you so much for fighting for freedom, for fighting for incredible values, for fighting and protecting your country, its boundaries, its customs, and its people. Slava Ukraini!
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe for more. See you later!